Greetings, I'm Luke Fedlam, co-managing partner of Advance, and I'm here with my co-managing partner, Courtney Altimus. And we are excited that we're here with Hunter Dickinson, who is a basketball player at the University of Michigan. Hunter, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we're talking name, image, and likeness. We're here at the NIL Summit, and we know that name, image, and likeness, it has changed quite a bit over the last year. Maybe share with us a little bit what your views on NIL was, like what those views were when you first kind of heard about it last year, and how that's evolved over this past year.
Yeah, I would say when it first, hit the news that NIL was really coming into place, I think it was just a frenzy of so many different things. It was like the Big Bang just happened and everything started flowing and so many different things. And I think there was so much uncertainty and so much, just not knowing what NIL was really going to be about. And looking back on it now, I feel like there's so much more clarity, and it's crazy because everybody says how there's still not that much clarity. And so for me, I feel like I've learned a lot over this last year, and I think, in the coming months and year of NIL, I think, I'll still continue to get even a greater grasp for NIL, and I think, the potential of NIL in the future definitely excites me.
Awesome. And you've been able to really concentrate when any advice or education has been coming in. I know we were talking about how you really focused on making sure that you were thoughtful and intentional about any deals you were doing, not to just go out there and do all your deals, but this is actually part of building a brand. Mm-hmm. And, not every student athlete has done that, and they've gotten, stretched thin. Maybe their brand hasn't been hurt, but, as you go forward, I know you mentioned you're going to hire a marketing agent. Mm-hmm. How do you see that? How do you see your foundation of your brand, and how do you see that evolving moving forward?
Yeah, like you said, I always wanted to make sure that I didn't stretch myself, too wide with brands, and I didn't want to take every deal. I got some good advice to try to be really picky with, the kind of brands that I wanted to, I guess, make my own brand. And so for me, I always just thought of, the main things that I enjoy, basketball obviously being one of them. I'm a big gamer, and, I feel like I'm socially, I'm a big social guy and stuff like that. So I think, those are probably the core values of me, and then just trying to get that out there. I think that's why, having a marketing team would really help me, because they would reach out to brands on my behalf and kind of, explain the kind of person I am, and explain why they think I'd be a good fit for their company, and, just help me out and take the stress off of me of, trying to worry about so many different things when, I have somebody who can kind of explain my story and my brand to other people and take that kind of stress and load off my plate.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you, either that you've learned already about name, image, and likeness, or just navigating the space? And what are some of the things maybe that you are still looking to learn more about and still looking to dive into?
I think the biggest thing for NIL is connections. Everybody says life's all about who you know, not what you know. And I think that's really, hitting the nail on the head with NIL. And I think for me, just trying to make as many connections as I can with, prominent alumni at Michigan, or just anybody who, is a fan of mine. I think that's the biggest thing that I would say will lead to my success, and something that, is the main thing that I'm trying to do right now. Something that I'm trying to expand on is, just continuing to, I guess, build my brand on social media. I think I like to think I have a good handle on that, but I mean, coming to this summit, I've learned that, I have some areas of improvement for me, and so just trying to continue to build my brand and try to reach as many people as I can, and just try to continue to build that fan base for myself.
Fantastic. And you were fortunate, you have mom who was able to help you with taxes, but some of your teammates maybe didn't know as much about taxes. So whether it's taxes or other pieces of NIL and the responsibility part of it, mm-hmm. What do you think there needs to be more of education-wise?
I think education-wise, college is just continuing to, hammer the students on, important things like taxes, like you said. I don't think, even with all the information and summits like this telling people that they got to pay their taxes, I still think there's a good majority of college athletes out there who, when they get a $1,000 check, they're spending, or they think they have $1,000 in their hand when really, you don't have all that money. And so just continuing to advocate student athletes and continuing to educate them on things, because that's what college is for, preparing people for the professional ranks. And I think NIL is the perfect example of getting young student athletes ready for that professional life of having to do grown-up things.
Hunter, I'm so glad that you said that, because we talk about that all the time. That name, image, and likeness really creates a platform and opportunity for student athletes to learn about navigating in the professional world. You mentioned networking, you mentioned taxes, you mentioned building relationships, all things that are going to be helpful when student athletes transition out of school. Are there any other kind of skills or other exposure to different things that you've learned that you feel like are going to help prepare you when you graduate?
Yeah, like the contract stuff, looking at a contract, negotiating deals on my behalf, knowing my worth. I think those are big things that guys who have came before me kind of had to learn on the fly right when they got to the professional ranks. And I'm big on learning through mistakes and stuff like that, and learning through my past. And so some people unfortunately had to learn through their mistakes on a professional level, and I'm glad that I had that head start of only maybe messing up on a minor deal that's only worth maybe a couple $1,000s instead of a couple million. And so for me, I'm just glad that I'm able to get that experience now, and I'm getting a head start at something that could potentially be life-changing for myself.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you.
I know you've had a lot of people asking you questions all day long for the last couple days, but hopefully you've been able to have some fun too.
Yes, no, it's been a great experience, and I'm really glad I was able to be invited here.
Great. Thanks,
again.
Hunter.
All right, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
All right.